Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me at the table. This is not our typical location, and I am coming to you live tonight on March 18th, 2020. That's right, you can interact with me. Got the computer sitting here on the table, and I would be glad to interact with any of you. If you have any questions, comments, anything at all, let's just enjoy this night. I titled this episode, The Only Crown That Matters. Why? Because did you know that the word corona is a Latin word for crown? And the reason viruses that are known as coronaviruses, yes, there is more than one. There's a lot of coronaviruses out there. They are named that because they have these little spikes that come off of the main virus, and it almost looks like a crown. So the first person who discovered a coronavirus said it looked like a crown, and since the medical community uses Latin quite a bit, they coined it the coronavirus. So that's where we get this name of this thing that has changed the world forever. But I thought it interesting because there's only one crown that really matters, and that is the crown of life. James chapter 1, verse 12, James goes into this dissertation about persevering and be thankful during times of persecution, times of uncertainty. And he says this because when he gets to verse 12, he says, whoever overcomes these adversities, that God will give them the crown of life. Jesus reiterates this in the book of Revelation, chapter 2. I forget the verse exactly, but he's talking to the church of Smyrna. And he says to them that some of you Satan will throw into prison, but continue to persevere, because the one who perseveres to the end will be given the crown of life. So the crown of life is about perseverance during uncertainties. The crown of life is about persevering when the world's falling apart around you. The crown of life is given to those who overcome. Therefore, it's the only crown that matters. The only crown that matters, the crown of life. But then there's also this verse in the Bible where it says that people were standing before Jesus and they took their crowns and they cast them at his feet, saying, in a sense, we're not worthy to have this crown. We're giving it back to you. And yes, that's where the popular music group Casting Crowns got their name. No, this is not a Casting Crowns shirt. This is a Mercy Me shirt, concert shirt. But still, the point is, that's where Casting Crowns gets their name. So I thought about starting out tonight by saying, so what do you want to talk about? As if we have nothing to talk about. But I had a little bit of internet difficulties and finally got that all worked out. Got a new Wi-Fi system, and guess I had to reset some things to get my computer to connect to it properly. I don't know. But anyway, hey, we're connected. We're live from my house. Why am I not at the church? Well, typically I go to the church and I pre-record and I stream it on Wednesday nights live. And the reason I don't do live shows anymore is because at the church, I wanted to do this on Wednesday nights, and there's choir practice at the same time as at the table on Wednesday nights. I just touched my face. I shouldn't do that. So I've been pre-recording it, and that has given me the ability to add in some bloopers at the end. I can, if I make a mistake, I can cut it out. It really, I can add the music at the end of the show and do things with the production that you can't really do when you're live. So sure, I could have gone there tonight because they didn't have choir practice. I could have recorded live from the church. I could have pre-recorded it one of these other nights, but I'm working from home now too, and that just opens up a whole new dynamic because I'm closer to the church when I'm at work than I am when I'm at home. But anyway, I thought, I'm just going to, for at least for now, maybe for a couple weeks, probably shouldn't go outside anyway. That's what they're saying. I thought I'm just going to start doing some live streams from my basement. But look, the books are here. Not the books that you usually see in the church, but yeah, I got books behind me to kind of give you a comfortable feeling. I got the coffee mug. I got the tablecloth. Got the computer sitting up here so I can see if anybody... Hi, Mom. I see Mom just joined. Hi, Kathy Bliss. So that I can interact with people. Like if I'm recording it, pre-recording it, I can't look down and see that Kathy Bliss joined and say, hi, Mom. And hi, Kathy McLeish and Deb Risden as well. Glad to see you guys have joined as well. Anyway, let's get on to the topic of the night. We started on a little bit, the crown of life. The crown of life is given to people who persevere. Oh, is that not fitting for this thing that we're going through right now? The last time I recorded at the table was on Monday, March 9th, I guess it was. And I recorded it on Monday, March 9th, and I aired it on Wednesday, March 11th. Yes, that's correct. Had no idea that the next episode I did, the world would be so much different. And, I know for a lot of us, we're still trying to wrap our heads around that, aren't we? We're trying to wrap our heads around the fact that this is a worldwide problem. I'm probably making a bunch of noise on the microphone there by hitting the table. This is a worldwide problem. And, it's something that, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fool with my computer at the same time while I'm trying to talk to all of you. It's not just the United States. It's just not something that's going on in China anymore. This is a worldwide pandemic. And sure, we went through the swine flu and, first time I heard, oh, well, there could be another pandemic coming. Yeah. Okay, whatever. We went through the swine flu. I think I got sick from it. I don't know. My kids definitely did. My oldest daughter almost had to go to the hospital from it. So I thought, okay, we all recovered. Big deal. Move on. But then I start seeing, last Monday night, my daughter sends me a message and says, hey, I'm going to be home for a while. They extended spring break. I thought, they're overreacting, right? And then Thursday, she says, I can't have lunch with you on Friday. I got to go get my stuff from the dorm. I'm getting kicked out of the dorm now. I'm like, what? And then the governor comes on and starts saying, well, we're going to shut down this and this and that. And the next thing you know, we're shutting down churches and restaurants and bars. And I'm like, what is going on? What in the world? I'm sure everybody else was saying the same thing. And my goodness, try to find toilet paper last Thursday. Not going to happen. Still don't understand that one. But anyway, the realization started hitting people on Friday and Saturday. And, when people couldn't go to church on Sunday, it started to hit home, didn't it? Started to really start to grasp the gravity of the situation that things aren't the same as they used to be. Well, if we stop and think about it, though, what has changed? Come on, Phil, what has changed? A lot has changed. Okay, but I mean, God is still in control. God has still made that promise in James chapter 1, verse 12. And if you just heard that noise, it was my cats running up and down the steps. Who knows? We might even have a cat join us on the table here tonight. There's one looking at me right now, like she wants to come over here. You never know what you're going to find. Anyway, we still have that promise that he or she who overcomes and perseveres will be given the crown of life, the corona of life. And that's the only crown that matters. We still have that promise. We still have the promise of John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son. That can't be taken away. And, I find it kind of ironic that last week, the very last thing I talked about, well, I talked about it pretty much throughout the entire show, but really talked and focused on the last part of Romans chapter 8, when Paul says that nothing at all is going to separate us from the love of God. Not some silly virus. It's nothing compared to God. So, we just need to relax. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is I'm seeing an awful lot of people posting opinions. And probably nobody watching this show has done this, but I don't know exactly who's watching, so I'm just going to say it. And maybe you can reach out and say it to other people as well. There's so much misinformation going on. I don't know that I'm looking to see who's joined, and I know none of you work for the CDC. None of you, I don't think, work for the government. I don't think there's anybody on here that's a doctor. And again, it's not any of you that are posting these things, but my goodness, a friend of mine posted, I think she said 68,000 people have recovered. Why is the media not covering this? Go to Fox News. When they put up that little red map that now West Virginia is red as well, they always say total cases, and then right next to it in green, green's positive, the number of people that recovered. And at the time this was posted that 68,000 people have recovered, why don't they say anything about this? It was already up over 75,000. They're reporting that people are recovering. And, you know, more people are recovering than... more people are infected than have recovered, but there's more people recovering than dying from this. And, you know, that's not what this is about, though. I really sat down and thought about it and prayed about it and said, God, you know, just what can I tell people to ease their mind? It's not about the fact that this is not the flu. It's not about the fact that the flu kills hundreds of thousands of people every year and this one's only killed less than 10,000. I don't know what the number is right now. That's not what this is about. What our government did, you know, as mad as we might get about it, and as much as it hurts, they have really done a good thing, I think, because at the rate this thing is spreading, there would have been such a huge spike, and there still could be. We don't know yet. It's still early. But if they just would have let it go and let this huge spike occur, our hospitals would have been completely overwhelmed. And then people really would have died. And, you know, I'm supposed to go see a doctor in April about my hip because it hasn't fully recovered. If I even go, they're not going to do anything about it this year. Their focus is on something else now. But, you know, let's just say that it's summertime and we never did anything about this. And we, you know, none of the social distancing, none of the closing of schools. And we had hundreds of thousands of people sick and it just keeps spreading and spreading. And let's say you break your wrist, go to the hospital. You're either going to get a doctor that is overworked and tired, or you're going to get a doctor that doesn't know how to fix a broken wrist, or they're going to tell you, come back in a week and we'll set it, because they're taking care of the coronavirus patients, the COVID-19 patients. Again, that's all speculation, but I'm starting to understand a little bit why the government did what they did. You know, for a couple of days, I was like everybody else. I was a little scared. I was a little bit freaking out. I didn't know this was coming. It caught me off guard just like it did everybody else. But then I sat down and prayed about it and said, God, you're in control, so tell me what's going on here. And this is kind of what I've been getting. So I guess what I'm asking is, be smart. If you see something catchy on Facebook, don't necessarily repost it. You know, the media is telling how many people recovered. I'm sorry, Mom, if you're still watching. Everything I read says gargling with salt water doesn't kill the virus. If you want to gargle with salt water, it does other good things for you. And by all means, anybody, gargle with salt water if you want to. But from what I'm reading, it doesn't kill the virus. So check your sources. There are people and groups out there who purposely make memes and make false posts and put them on Facebook for many reasons. One, they want to see how far it'll go. They want to sit back and laugh at the things that people will repost without checking facts. There is a theory, and I think it's a pretty good one. I can't remember now who told me this today, but someone told me that there's a group that posts, a malicious group that posts memes on Facebook, and they're the ones who said, toilet paper comes from China, so get all your toilet paper now before it runs out. That's how this all got associated. Toilet paper got associated with this virus. That's a theory. I don't know if that's true or not, but pretty darn good theory, because people say, oh, toilet paper is made in China, and they believe it. You know where toilet paper is made? Do you know where most of the toilet paper in the world is made? In Ohio and Wisconsin. Yeah, go look it up. And some Indiana, too. They're made in, most of it, at least in the United States, is made in the Midwest of the United States. It's not made in China. If it was made in China, it would fall apart. Let's stop right there. So just be careful about the things that you're seeing on Facebook, and don't trust the media either. They're only going with, sometimes they may get caught up in one of these things. Part of what I had believed at first was that maybe this was, Mom is still watching. I'm going to reply to that one. I was starting to think, well, maybe this is the delusion that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, that God is going to send a strong delusion, and maybe this is part of it. But I mean, it may be part of it, but I don't believe that our government is deluded. I don't think people are living a delusion. People are scared. The government doesn't know what to do. This is a first for everyone. So here's what we can do. Ian Thornton put out a great message this morning to just breathe. And I really want to reiterate that, to just breathe. Take a deep breath. Just go and just breathe. Because it does so much for us. It'll calm us down. It'll ease our anxieties. It'll ease our fears a little bit if we just take time to breathe. Because God is still in control. And he still is using this as he does everything else. Romans 8:28, for we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. God is using this for good. I heard one person say that, co-workers are expressing their faith like never before. Most people, at least in America, do believe in God. Most people are not atheists. I think it's very ironic that I know 4 atheists. I am pretty good friends with 1 or 2 of them, and the other pretty good acquaintances. 4 atheists. Most people don't know 1. I believe that there's also a reason for that God probably brought them into my life so I can work with them, but I know they're not watching this show. But anyway, most people do believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God, if not as their Lord and Savior. And in times like this, just like after 9/11, do you know when the churches were the most full between 2000 and 2002? September, whatever the Sunday was after 9/11, the 16th, 17th, whatever that was, churches were full, very full. I remember going to a Martins Ferry High School, I believe it was 1 week after September 11th, and the place was full. It was just absolutely full. And it was some kind of a memorial service or something. I don't recall now, but we had senators and congressmen praying on the steps of the Capitol on September 12th, 2001. Tragedies and upsets in the world, they make a difference. Now, September 11th, 2001 was just for America. That they attacked us in America, but it had ripple effects in the rest of the world. This coronavirus is everywhere. It's affecting the entire world. And God's people are throughout this world. And they, people in other parts of the world are working to help one another. I have friends in Australia who, at this point, still cannot get toilet paper, but I know people did find some today. But people in Australia, friends of mine, they're helping each other out. Friends in Canada that are coping with this. It's not just America this time. It's everywhere, and it affects all of us. And when we come together, what a perfect time for us to come together and put aside differences and love one another and tell people about Jesus, because they're scared. People are scared. And I know that a lot of people put these things on Facebook because they're scared, and it makes them feel better. But let God be the one to make you feel better. You know, when I had that little bit of anxiety, I had anxiety for months and started to come back with this coronavirus thing. Took it to God, prayed, listened to worship music, and he calmed me down. And he can do it for you too. God can make a difference in all of our lives, every single one of us, because he loves us. I am so glad last week my episode was all about love. Fits right into this, doesn't it? He loves us so much, and he wants us to know that. And he's calling on us to band together to help others and to tell about him. If you've been afraid in the past to speak your mind about God, now's the perfect time. And if you don't, it's okay. But if you're cautious for whatever reason, now's the time. Because people are listening now. They want to know what's going on. You know, I heard that people were saying it's the end of the world. No, it's not. Read Matthew 24 if you want to know about the end of the world. Read the book of Revelation if you want to know about the end of the world. Sure, this sort of thing, disease, pestilence, famine, shortages of food, yeah, those things are talked about, but they're also talked about as being birthing pains for the end. But the end is yet to come. Trust me. By the time Jesus returns, if you read the book of Revelation, most of us won't be here anyway. Most of us will be dead. And we'll be waiting to come back with him in the clouds. And I don't want to turn this into a rapture thing, but we'll leave it at that because I don't want to upset a bunch of people. I got to stop touching my face. My mom's watching this. She's going to yell at me. My wife's watching this. She's going to yell at me. But my nose itches. I wash my hands. So I guess my advice to you tonight is just be calm. And I see a few more people have joined since I started. So I'm going to kind of go over what I talked about in the beginning again. James chapter 1, verse 12 says that when things are coming against you and trials are coming against you and it seems really difficult, if you persevere, the ones who overcome, God will give them the crown of life. The corona of life. The only crown that matters. The word corona is Latin for crown. The virus got its name because of the spikes that look like the tips of a crown when looked at underneath a microscope. So that's where the term corona or crown virus. There are many coronaviruses. This one just happens to be one that is new. Hence the word, you might hear novel coronavirus. Novel means new. This is a new coronavirus. And it's called SARS-CoV-2 because SARS, sudden acute respiratory syndrome, was something that we dealt with in 2002, and we all lived through that. And this is a SARS-type coronavirus, so it's coronavirus 2. And the disease that it causes is COVID-19. So that's where all these terms came from. But the crown virus, there's only one crown that matters, and that is the crown of life that is given to every person who perseveres and overcomes. I don't think it's a coincidence at all that God allowed the coronavirus to do what it has done to this world. He's trying to tell us to overcome through his strength, and we will receive the corona of life, the crown of life, if we overcome. We can do it. We can overcome. With his grace, with his strength, we can overcome. We've already come this far. I know it's not even a week really into it. But sure. So I've only got a few minutes left, and I just want to say, just let's stop spreading the misinformation. Check your facts before you put something on Facebook. And let's trust in God. Let's pray. Let's band together. I know that the Bel Air First United Methodist Church will be having a live stream again this week. don't know about after this week. Many churches are stepping up and doing live streams, and others will be popping up. I know they will. So even if you don't watch your regular church, find one. Find a church that does a live stream that you can still fellowship online. Can you imagine if this had happened 30 years ago? There would be no live stream church services. There would be no children doing school from a computer. There would be none of that. And it would be a lot different. So I think it's, God knows what he's doing when he allowed this to happen at this time. God's in control. So do that. And, continue to do what they say. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. I touched my face 5 times tonight. And most of all, persevere. It's going to be long. It's going to be hard. It's not what we want to do. It's not at all what we want to do. But it could be worse. And we just don't know when the end will come, and maybe it will get worse before it gets better. And maybe if we happen to be lucky enough to live through the end times, that will certainly be worse. Learn to persevere now. It's building our faith. It's building our perseverance. It's going to get us the crown of life. Thank you all for joining tonight. You have all been fantastic. I will be back again next week. And now that I've got everything here in my home, who knows? I might even pop on for a quick message over the weekend just to see how everything's going. But I'll definitely be back next Wednesday night, probably most likely from this same location with the books behind me. And until then, I wish you all the best. Persevere. Stay inside. Don't steal some old lady's toilet paper. And have fun. Yes, we can still have fun in all of this. We can communicate in many other ways. We will be on live. The church, the Lair First United Methodist Church, will be on live on Sunday, so you can watch that. Many other churches, many good churches. The Experienced Church, highly recommend it. They'll be online live this Sunday as well. Many other churches, great churches out there. I'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining me tonight at the table. God bless you all.